And he's in the bed asleep. So I'm like, oh God, thank God. And I'm like, are you okay? So he was okay. He was like, Mom, what's wrong? I says, we've been burglarized. Your bike is gone. I'm missing jewelry, and my daggone favorite CD of Diana Ross and the Supremes is gone. And I mean, I had a nice collect. I mean, every last song that Diana Ross and the Supremes has said, even though I had ended up getting it again, but I'm gonna get into that with you. That was gone. So I cut my son's light on and I'm like, look and see. I says, has anybody been here? Did you hear anything? And he was like, well, so-and-so was here. I'm not going to put no names out. I'm not going to put his name out there. He was like, so-and-so was here. So I was like, when? He was like, maybe like an hour or so ago. So I said, well, what happened? He says, well, he rang the doorbell, opened it, because like I said, we've been dating for a month at this point. He's like, and I let him in and, I came back upstairs. I figured he was going to go in the room, watch TV, eat, whatever. I was going back to take my nap. But like I said, my son don't play around. He didn't play with his nap. So I was like, look around, and I happened to look over because my son had like this, I had got him like this entertainment system with his TV stand, and I mean, he had every game system, every game, everything. And I happened to look over, and because he was always, I taught him how to neatness and organization is very important. So he had all this, PlayStation, and back at that time, the original PlayStation was out. So I mean, at every last game, this PlayStation was gone. Thousands of dollars. My jewelry, thousands of dollars. His bike, $200 and some dollars. I didn't know what to think. I mean, I'm like, well, maybe he left the door open. I just couldn't believe at that time that he had done that, So I was like, well, maybe he left the door open because you were asleep, you did go back to sleep, so maybe somebody came in after. So I couldn't get in contact with him because cell phones and stuff is big, everybody was walking around here with cell phones and all that kind of stuff. So he was living with me, so it's like, oh, I can't call his house phone because his house phone was my phone. And I'm like, wow. So I was trying to call anybody in his family that I could think of. So I happened to get his mother on the phone. Lo and behold, that's when I found out that the man that I was in love with was an addict. All that conversation, that didn't come up. That night, we were sitting up a month before, all night, talking and discussing and getting to really know each other and, no secrets and all this. I found out that he was an addict with crack cocaine. I didn't know how to take that because I've never was around it. Never was my choice of anything, have a little some drinks and smoke my Newport, my cigarettes, and that was that. So, and I'd never actually been around anybody, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't know how to accept and take it, you know what I'm saying? But I knew at this point, I was just like, he was in love with me and him. So it was like, how do you take that? So I had to call my best friend that ain't gonna lie to me, ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing, ain't gonna tell me something in my best interest, and that was my Aunt Ray. Because we talk every day. I mean, as I'm going through all this, my aunt is calling me on the phone because she would call me, she would actually call my son and see if I got home, and then plus checking on him too, make sure everything was fine. So she's constantly blowing up the phone as I'm going through the house with all this. I couldn't even talk to her on the phone. I had to get up. Me and my son, we got up. My aunt was always cooking something and had something to eat anyway. I had to get up and just go over to her house. This was one of those types of situations where you just, you got to get face to face and all that, what you about to lay off, because my aunt is old school. This was just going to come to a bigger shock to her than it was for me. So I went and I had the discussion with her, and I told her about, after I got off the phone, with his mom, and, and there was two other things. I spoke to his father too, and then I spoke, I think to his cousin. I mean, I got the confirmation was definitely there that he was the one that did this and what problem he had. Have. So I had to tell my aunt this. One of the hardest things I most ever had to do is tell this to my aunt. Someone that's old-fashioned, love my son and I to death, and always wanted everything for our best interests, that I am involved with. Someone that just came in my house with my child, that had gotten to know him, I've gotten to know him, and stole our belongings, thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Mind you, that I gotta replace. Okay? I gotta replace. I can't have my son going through that wrath. So I gotta take money and go back to the store and buy everything all over again. So that way he is not affected behind this guy so-and-so behavior. I have to swallow up a loss from what he took from me, but my son wasn't going to swallow no loss. Okay, I got to replace it. So my aunt is just like furious. Okay, she was like, what are you going to do? You need to change your locks. We need to go to the store now, get locks, get on the phone, call the police, put a report in, blase, blase. And I tell her, I says, all right, I really love him, and I feel as though that the conversations that him and I have had, people have been used to just walking out on him. And I know what that feels like. I don't want to be the one who do that. I see something great in this man. And if he could just have someone to have by his side, maybe he'll stop this. So she was like, you know what? You're a very smart, intelligent woman. I'm going to trust that you know what you're doing, and if you need me, I'm here for you, So I was like, okay. So week or so goes by. I didn't hear anything from him. Mind you, I hadn't finished getting the whole entire scoop. That the drug thing was just bam, number one. I get home from work, check my mail, I get a letter. Correctional facility, Whaley Avenue Correction. I'm like, what? Who's writing me from there? It's him. So I, open the letter. I'm reading it. It's, he's apologizing. He wants to see me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm the type of person. Yeah, because you got some explaining to do to me. I don't play this. So it got to go through the process of getting the list and getting approved and all that. Oh, that doggone time, 2 weeks or whatever it was, couldn't go by fast enough. I was like Superwoman, straight to that doggone place, waiting to see him. I go inside. Mind you, some of the jewelry pieces that he had taken, my mom had bought me, before she passed away. That's another chapter I'll get into. that before she had passed away. So I got very emotional